Hello everybody and welcome back. It's Asta the Greek, and today I wanted to talk about some theories regarding Danganronpa 2x2. That's right, a brand new game is coming soon. I really hope it's in the first half of 2026, not gonna lie. Now, before we begin, I will say that I got some of the info regarding a certain interview about the game from Weeby News' video. I'll have a link in the description, though I am sure those interested have already seen it. Anyway, let's begin. Now, what can we expect about the game? We know that we're getting a full-on remake of Danganronpa 2, but we also know that the new scenario, as they called it, will be a reboot. The fact they specifically said reboot makes me think that we're potentially entering a new era when it comes to the canon DR games. When asked if the new scenario connects with the Danganronpa 3 anime, the answer was, play the game and find out. Which, if it is, why not just say it? If they just wanted to make quick money out of a remake, then they wouldn't be so secretive about it. Yes, DR2 is the most popular game, but just a remake wouldn't sell if it was the exact same. So they could just make a new story with them just to entice the hardcore fans and leave it at that. But the new scenario was called a reboot. To me, this makes me think that after 2x2, Danganronpa 3 and V3 won't be canon anymore. And from a marketing point, it does make sense. DR3 is mostly disliked by the fandom. Personally, I think the only good thing about it was the Despair arc, because the second cast is my favorite and it gave us many funny interactions between the characters before the killing game. The Future arc was disappointing for the most part, and Hope arc was also messy and one episode only, I think. And as for V3, while it's still a great game, the truth is the ending is very controversial among the DR fandom. Personally, I really like the twist, but I understand why others didn't. So to me, it's logical they'd want to move away from these controversial story points and onto a different story. Another thing that's important to note is, apparently the new scenario will be as long or longer than the original game. This is another big sign that we're moving past V3 and the anime. And as a writer, I get it. The original trilogy dug itself a very deep hole. Danganronpa 1 set the standard for what the series would be, then Danganronpa 2 had similarities that people noticed later, and V3 doubled down, revealing that those similarities were intentional all along. The first chapter has the main character getting betrayed by someone close to them, Chapter 2 revolves around a criminal, Chapter 3 has a double murder and a character crashing out, Chapter 4 has the buff character dying, and Chapter 5 is the most difficult, like DR1 having a rigged trial with no killer, DR2's killer being set up by the victim by sheer luck, and V3 having to decide who was inside the big mecha. And of course, the last chapter always had Junko coming back somehow and showing an insane plot twist. And from the writer's perspective, I can see why that would be boring. It's boring to write different stories that always need to have the exact same similarities to the previous ones. I wouldn't be surprised if they are rebooting DR2 to no longer have these similarities, so the every killing game is planned to be the same rule won't be canon anymore. Now, they could have rebooted Danganronpa 1, but it's too iconic to actually change the story. Meanwhile, Danganronpa 2 is set in a virtual world. So the story can be easily changed and from there move on to potential Danganronpa 5 or 6, while no longer being restricted to the rules the first 3 games had. So with all that out of the way, let's talk about some theories. So far, there's only 2 possible scenes that are new in the trailer. The clear one is the Nagito and Hajime scene looking towards the beach. Though I also think that the starting scene with Nagito and his different shirt could be from the new scenario. Now, for argument's sake, the CG with Nagito and Hajime could be a new CG for the remake. When I saw that, I thought of a scene happening, I want to say during the prologue, but it might have been chapter 1 where Nagito and Hajime are talking outside the hotel during the night. This could be a new CG for that scene particularly, though since the other CGs don't seem to be remade, maybe it is actually made for the new scenario. I have seen people talking about a product switch, specifically with Mahiru. I was honestly surprised, because I thought I was the only one that liked her. I heard people saying she was supposed to be the protagonist originally, but I didn't see anywhere where that came from. Apparently Mahiru's design was made for a potential main character, but it was afterwards given to Mahiru. So there was never any plans of her being a main character. That being said, I would really like for Mahir to be the main character. Hajime dying in the prologue would be a good change, considering that the mastermind this time around isn't AI Junko, but it's maybe Izuru on his own. So maybe Izuru kills his past version in the game and runs the killing game, maybe in a way that would ruin Makoto's plan of bringing hope back to the Ultimate Despairs. Now, if the game is longer than usual, it does make me wonder, what if this time around Makoto and the gang show up from the start? What if some of them, like maybe Byakuya, joins the killing game, and Makoto and Kyoko are hiding on the island trying to solve the issue? Let's be honest here, the Ultimate Imposter has to show his true self in the story, so Byakuya being in the killing game would force him to reveal his identity. We're also bound to get Hyoko's redemption arc, cause by far she was done the dirtiest in Danganronpa 2. And hey, if Mahir is the main character, we could be dealing with Hyoko as a side protagonist. As for Mikan, I really doubt they'll remake her execution in the main game, so we could be seeing a new execution in the new story, hopefully with a murder case that isn't complete bullshit. Another big thing is that we're probably not getting Mekamaru. Mekamaru is my second favorite DR character, and I swear he was done so dirty during the game. He was around for 2 chapters, then was absent for the 3rd chapter, only to return as a robot, for whatever reason, and then die again. I also think Chiaki and Nagito will be dying quite early too, since they were massive players in the original. Fujihiko was planned to die originally, so it would make sense if that happened now, maybe giving Peko a deserved arc where she tries to be her own person instead. I also think Kazuichi will be dying cause like, why did Boss survive in the first place? Also, a cool idea for a potential chapter 7 could be Makoto dying for real this time, with Izuru being the killer and executed in the end. I could see Byakuya getting some kind of execution too. I did make a tier list with potential killers and victims per chapter, though it's kind of difficult to say specific reasons as to why I picked them for each spot. This is mainly vibes. Anyway, that will be all for today. What do you guys think of what I said in this video? Do you have any theories of your own? Let me know in the comments below, but until the next video, take care and I will see you next time. Bye bye.